Welcome to the Full Tilt Poker $1 Million cash game from 50 London. Now this is going to be one of the biggest ever no-limit cash games to ever be televised anywhere in the world. And as a result, we've got 13 of the most respected and most feared poker players, all trying to make the most profit possible over the next 4 shows. From English to Danish to American, the big money has come to town. And in this game, it's all about making your friends go broke. Each player is starting with a minimum of $100,000 of their own cash, and if they lose it, they can simply reach back into their pockets and buy back in. The starting lineup for this game is a who's who of poker stars. In seat 1, it's John Dwan from California, famous for tournaments, but can often be found in high-stakes, no-limit games. Seat 2 is probably one of the top 3 cash game players in the world, Jennifer Harman. She regularly plays in the big game at the Bellagio in Las Vegas. Next up is loudmouth Lithuanian Tony G, who won the first Asian Poker Tour event and donated half his winnings to a local charity. Then the man who needs no introduction, Phil Ivey, with 5 World Series of Poker bracelets and also another regular visitor to the Bellagio's $4,000, $8,000 limit game. In seat 5, it's British pro Mark Goodwin, who reportedly makes just as much money gambling on golf with Phil Ivey as he does playing poker. In seat 6, it's Mike the Mouth Matusow, self-confessed best player at the table. He's won over $4.2 million in tournaments, but loves the cash games just as much. Then in 7, it's the Professor Howard Lederer, who apparently has given up playing cash games, but just a few years ago was playing in the biggest game ever with Jennifer Harman and Doyle Brunson, to name just 2. Finally in seat 8, it's billionaire retired businessman from Ireland, Alan Smurfit, who now plays poker as a hobby to some success. Now with literally hundreds of thousands of dollars at stake at the table, let's get straight to the action and join our commentators David Tuchman and Gary Jones.
Welcome to 50 London for the Full Tilt Poker $1 Million cash game. We have the biggest names in the game playing for high stakes. To get our action going, it's floor manager Barry Mundy.
Lines of 3 and 6. Dealer, shuffle up the deal. Best of luck, everybody.
Let's all go in the first hand.
Joining me in the commentary box today, it's David Tuchman, fellow professional. What do you think of the action today, David?
Well, these are some of the best players in the world. They all know each other's tendencies very well. It'll be interesting to see how they adjust and adapt to each other.
Yeah, it's very different playing cash games to playing tournaments. Some of these guys have got plenty of tournament experience, but not as much cash game experience. It really will be interesting to see how they adjust.
Sounds good to me. Yeah, I'm going to watch. It's up to you now, Phil.
This is our first hand, and the action's going to start with Phil Ivey.
Pass. There you go, all the talk and now you fold it. Pass. I'm going to win this. I bet you I win this hand. No flop. Now, Howard's going to take me on. Sure.
Well, it looks like Howard's going to bring this one in with ace-king.
What is that, 800?
It's 1800.
I'm expecting quite a lot of verbal between both Tony G and the Mouth, Mr. Mike Matusow.
I'm probably going to move all in, but I might just call. I just call. This is fun. Wow.
So it's ace-king versus jack-9 for the first hand. Tony G defending him.
A nice gap suited connector there to defend the blind with.
Yeah, it's not a bad hand to call a small raise with.
Well, it's an interesting flop for Tony G there. He's open-ended. He's got backdoor spades as well.
Yeah, and Howard there with no pair at the moment. He did raise it up before the flop. Maybe he'll try to carry through on the flop. Or he could take his free cut card.
Or you check.
You can check.
My biggest pet peeve in poker are you idiots that take 4 hours on a hand. I mean, let's go. Let's do something.
2,600. Yeah, the game's on.
Game on.
Game on.
Got Mikey's.
Calling people idiots already. Just tell it like it.
No help with the turn card there. Big bet from Howard and a call from Tony.
I think Howard's got ace-king.
Well, he's read him right so far.
6-9 off.
8-9. What's the best hand? 3 queens. You better put the headphones on. I think he's checking.
I think Tony's trying to get a free card here by inducing Howard to check.
Pot's nearly $10,000 here.
Well, that's a $4,500 bet from Howard and a quick call there from Tony.
Wow.
Wow, what a big card there for Tony on the river. He's made the straight.
Now you've got to be a little cautious here. Obviously, the club did come. Tony does not have the nuts here. Obviously, he can lose to a flush.
Ace King's not good. Gonna show it. Look at this. I got it. It's a good check, Howard.
Yeah, obviously. I mean, that card has to get you there.
Well, he's managed to convince Howard to check it there. I think Tony G might have cost himself some money.
Well played. Great, world-class check.
It's not hard to check it.
World-class check.
He might have had no hand, Mike.
World-class check.
He might have no hand. What's he gonna bet? Ace King. I told you he had Ace King. I bet you he had Ace King.
Good read.
To get started, one player has made the nominated dealer or button. Then the two players to the left post the small and big blinds. These are forced bets to get the action started. The big blind is always double the small. Unlike a tournament, the blinds stay at a set level for the whole game. In this case, $300 and $600. Plus, there's an ante of $100 per player, which must be paid if they want to play in a hand. Once the blinds and antes are posted, everyone has dealt 2 cards. We have a round of betting. Then 3 cards are placed face up on the table, called the flop. These are the community cards for all the players to use. Then we have another round of betting, after which the 4th card, the turn, is placed in the middle, followed by some more betting and the last community card, the river. Then we finish off with a final round of betting. The best 5-card hand wins the money.
He remembers his hands for a long time because he loses with that, I guess. Which is a good reason.
Here's Phil, 5 World Series of Poker bracelets, and he got those all before he was 30 years old. Very impressive.
Yeah, he's one of the most respected pros out there.
Yeah, for me, he's definitely one of the top 3 in the world.
No, he was not action. Who said he's action?
Both in tournaments and in cash games, he's had tremendous success.
Where's your action?
Regularly plays the big game at the Bellagio, 4,000, 8,000 limit mixed games.
Donkey player there are. Just play your big blinds.
17 times.
That's all you can play.
So Jennifer's raised it up, and that's why.
You can only play
Pocket ace is not a bad starting hand.
17 total. Pass. Pass.
And Phil's call with jacks. And looks like Howard's playing as well. With the ace-8, that's a bit of a creative call.
It really is. I mean, that's not a hand in a cash game you're usually in there with.
I thought he played a little bit loser, to be honest with you.
10-4-4. That could be a dangerous flop for Phil.
Normally a great flop for pocket aces here. She's got 2 pair already.
Bet from Jennifer, call from Phil.
Yeah, Phil's quite aware that she could have queens, kings, or aces here.
It's possible this might be a card to help him get away from his hand.
Of course, if she was making the continuation bet with ace-king, she's now gotten there.
Exactly.
10,000 total.
Well, it's been a bet and a call. We're going to the river. It's a 4 of hearts. The flush is irrelevant. Both players having a full house. 4's full of jacks for Phil Ivey, but 4's full of aces for Jennifer.
Yeah, no reason for Harman not to think she has the best hand here.
20,000. $20,000 total.
Well, a good lay down there from Phil. He made the right read, and Jennifer picks up that pot. Over 30,000 in there.
Yeah, obviously Phil Ivey probably doesn't think Jennifer Harman's going to fire 3 bullets without a hand.
Exactly. It's a good read.
Okay, I guess Phil gets that kind of respect.
The big blind is with John Juanda, and Jennifer Harman
Pass.
is first to act. She lays it down. Looks like Phil reaching for some chips once again,
1800. Pass. Pass.
and he's raised it up.
Pass. Pass.
Well, it's John Juanda with the 8. Well, Phil there with the Queen 9, not quite as strong as his previous hand, but he has got an ace on the board.
2,500.
Better 2,500 from Phil. Probably going to pick this one up, but no.
$4,500 total. 2 more
Just call.
Wow, and that's a flat call from John. Couldn't tell the chip colours there. That's got to be a dangerous card, even if you are sitting there with an ace, which Phil isn't. When you're up against a big blind caller in this spot, David, you've got to be afraid that they're down there somewhere.
Well, the difficult thing also is you're not quite sure, did Dwan call me with a heart draw, maybe a gut shot, or in this case, pocket 8s?
Well, Phil's got nothing at the moment. He knows he can probably only win this one with a bet.
$7,000.
Well, that's 7 red ones. That's 7,000, the bet from Phil. And he wins the pot with just Queen high.
Fluff straws every hand, don't make any of them. It gets expensive.
Looks bad. Now that's how to play a poker hand. We'll see you after the break for more great action. Welcome back to 50 London for the Full Tilt Poker $1 Million cash game. Plenty of great action out there, so let's rejoin our commentary team of David Tuckman and Gary Jones.
Do you think he's going to call 20,000 with the kings?
This is kind of a little strange.
Here we are with the ranking of the hands. First we have high card. In this case, a king high would win it. Then we have 1 pair. In this case, pair of aces. Then 2 pair. Jacks and 9s will do it. Then 3 of a kind, 3 of the same one, 3 4s. Then we have a straight, 5 cards in order, not the same suit. Then a flush, 5 cards, the same suit, 5 hearts will do it. Then we have a full house, 3 7s, 2 kings. This would be 7s full of kings, 4 of a kind, 4 kings. Then we have a straight flush, 5 cards in order, all the same suit. And here's the most beautiful hand in the world. Royal flush. 10, 2 ace, all the same suit.
Blinds are on John Juanda and Jennifer Harman. It's with Tony G. He's been in an awful lot of the earlier hands.
Really cool.
But he seems to have quietened down a little bit.
6 to cool. Hard to speed around in a cash game.
Well, expensive to speed around in a cash game.
Especially against the likes of this competition.
18 to cool.
You were pretty happy over there.
There may be lineups where you can play pretty quick, but this isn't one of them. Phil Ivey's brought it in for 1,800. These two have clashed a couple of hands already.
Wow.
It's John Juanda and Phil Ivey.
12 to cool.
But this time, John's been a little bit clever with his pocket queens.
Yeah, he's definitely got the goods here.
And cool.
And so's Jennifer. This could be a big pot.
Why is everyone playing so tight? gonna start playing every hand. 7, 3.
Wow, that's a big flop for John. I think he can afford to give a free card, and he has.
Check. I know how nitty you are, but don't worry.
All 3 players have checked it.
10.
Wow.
Told you who the
Well, and Jennifer Harman has made her set on the turn. Then it is the 3rd spade, obviously. You've got to be cautious.
It's going to be there. Seat 6. You?
It's going to be right here. Seat 6, yeah.
You worked it out.
Howard will be the biggest nit. All by Phil.
Well, it's very dangerous for her to flat call to give a free card to a spade, but if she raises it, she could be giving someone a chance to come over the top with a flush.
Well, obviously it's tough for Dwan as well. If she does come over the top, how do you like your top set? Obviously she could have a flush.
18,000 to play. Pass.
John's just had a quick look. Looks like he's realised there's 3 spades on the board.
14.
Now, obviously, if Dwan is beat, he knows he has redraw. He has 10 outs. Catch a 3, a 7, a 10, or a queen, he would think.
That's if he's up against a flush, yes.
Yes.
Same for me, please.
Hard for him to know how good he's in right now.
Yeah, he's in a fantastic spot. He just doesn't know it. In a tournament, you might play this one a little bit more cautious than you might in a cash game. Of course, if you get it wrong in a cash game, you can always pull up.
Called 14.
Well, and John calls.
If you want action, you do not want to see a spade.
4.
It's a good card for John.
Check.
Luckily for Jennifer Harman, it did not pair the board. If a 3 or a 7 had come off, we really would have seen fireworks.
Yeah, that would have been the end of the stack for Jennifer.
Call it 25,000 to call.
The bet is 25,000 from Jennifer. I can't imagine John passing this.
No, you wonder here. I mean, I think Jennifer Harman thinks she's value betting. She can't put John Dwan on a flush or top set.
Wow! She's managed to get him to lay down top set in this spot. He can't think of a hand that she's going to bet the 25,000 with that he can beat. Unbelievable. But that one goes to the lady.
Wow, that was a strong blow.
Well, what a hand that one was for Jennifer Harman. John Dwan now at the bottom of the stack, Jennifer Harman at the top. If it had called that bet, it would have been completely different. But as it is, John's now at half his starting chips and $50,000 down.
Real interesting way John Dwan to play that hand. He checked it, let the spade come off, and then scared himself.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Jennifer still with a smile on her face from the previous hand. She just won a very nice pot off John Dwan with the worst hand. The action now with Phil Ivey. She's played some of the biggest cash games anywhere in the world, regularly plays very large in the Bellagio.
You couldn't believe it didn't come. Nothing come. Still might have had the winner.
Yes, Jennifer Harman, well respected, widely regarded as one of the best women players in the entire world.
That was a strong bluff. Wow, you can do it, baby.
So Phil bringing it in, calling for 600 in first position
300 to call.
with the ace-5. Howard here with 9-8 also wants to see a flop. And Alan Smurfit with Jack-King of spades.
Any raise?
Jennifer's playing as well. A bit creatively with her Jack-3, obviously flush with her former victory.
Jack.
That's a pretty good first 2 cards for Jack-3. And we've already seen Tony G's got threes and deuces as well.
Yeah, this could get really interesting. We have Tony G with bottom 2. We have Jennifer with top 2.
2,000.
And don't forget Alan Smurf, because he's got top pair with a king kicker.
Yeah, this could be expensive.
Raised to 10,000. 10,000 to call. And pass.
By the time y'all get this game out of the muck, man.
Can't believe I'm
10,000.
Howard with 9 high knows he's not going to play this one.
10,000.
Now the question is, what do you do if you're Alan Smurfett? You know Tony G's reputation.
Do you want that?
You've got to realize, I don't like to go broken in an unraised pot.
Yeah, he don't have enough.
Right now, you only have top pair if you're
You could
Smurfett.
have an add-on now.
Really a dangerous flop there.
You can have an add-on. Son, Mikey, son. A couple more hands.
Well, he's wisely laid that one down.
I thought you had middle cards.
Jack 3.
Jack 3.
4-5 of diamonds, that's middle. 6-5.
And now the question is, what does Jennifer Harman do? I mean, all you really have to be scared of here is a set of deuces, right?
You have.
Exactly.
Ace 9 of
You
diamonds.
can't give him 3 jacks.
There's 3 offs.
2's 3 off suit. That's possible too.
10,000 even.
Okay, 10,000.
She calls. She probably doesn't want to see a diamond here. She might give Tony a diamond draw.
King.
Well, Alan Smurfett's going to be kicking himself right now. He made a very good laydown.
But that was his gin card.
15,000 about.
And Harman checked to him. You wonder if she's going to check raise here.
King Jack.
Well,
King Jack of spades.
No reason for her not to think she has the best hand here.
What's up, Mark?
You got a bait.
I'm just watching.
she makes the call. We're going to the river. Just a deuce will save Tony G.
7.
Of course, this does open up the bluffing opportunity for Tony. No, he doesn't. He thinks his deuces and threes are probably good, David, doesn't he?
Well, you'd imagine. I mean, Jennifer Harman played that hand very passively, very slow.
She's managed to let Tony G keep hanging himself if he's bluffing or if he's only got half of a hand. As it happens, she's done very well out of that pot as well.
What happened there, Tony?
I took a hit. Took a hit.
And your anti-space?
Tony, what happened
Went
there?
in for early retirement.
So the button's on Howard Lederer. The blinds 300, 600, running ante of 100. The action's going to be with Jennifer.
And pass. Pass.
Looking at Jennifer Harman, you'd never think she was one of the most dangerous poker players out there.
Yes, very
Raised to 18.
very difficult to realise that she has played in some of the biggest cash games anywhere in the world. And there she is, having a chat.
Our regular cash game we play either at the Bellagio or at the Venetian. At the Bellagio it's called Bobby's Room, and we play mixed games. It's not only No Limit Hold'em, it's probably a mixture of 13 different games that we alternate every 8 hands. So we play limit and no limit and pot limit, so we play a variety of games. And I do play with the top players in the world, so it's more of a challenge for me. It's a lot of fun. A lot of people might not think it's fun because you're risking so much money. And we play really, really high, 4,000 and 8,000, probably the highest. And you can swing hundreds of thousands of dollars. So, you know, you really have to stay focused. But it's challenging and it's a lot of fun, and I don't know, I feel like I'm at home.
It's the Full Tilt Poker $1 million cash game. We have a new face to join the crowd. It's Gus Hansen.
Okay,
He's sitting next to Phil Ivey.
Had a good night's sleep. Yeah, I mean, not as good as you, but he's okay.
Gus Hansen won the inaugural European Poker Masters here at 50 London.
Yeah, so he's on home turf. The man he beat in the heads-up struggle that lasted over an hour is sitting 2 to his left and 2 to our right. It's Mark Goodwin.
Pass. 60 call. Cool.
And speaking of Mark Goodwin.
Well, yeah, speaking of Mark Goodwin, here he comes.
Pass. A raise of 2-6. 4-2 play. 3-6 to call. Pass.
Smurfett also here with an interesting hand, but not going to play.
Mark's making it quite expensive for anyone else, but Phil's reaching for his chips and he's decided to call.
Well, he's got ace crackers.
Yeah, good cards for cracking aces to 7-9 of clubs.
2, 3, 3. Check.
Well, that's a real safe flop for Mark Goodwin there.
About 7,000. Pass.
Wasn't really the flop that Phil was looking for to crack the aces.
In a nutshell. Shoot in with that little 100 ball and he bet 7. See how you like it, huh?
Tony, you've only played like 20 hands. How come you've decided to take a break from the table already?
I just think the players aren't in the mood to play big pots right now, and I think I could come back later and get some more action. So I'll go have dinner, have a nice time with my friends, and bounce back a bit later.
Have you been trying to like make the table a bit chatty? You've been trying to mix it up a bit, but no one seems to be biting, do they?
Yeah, I tried it and it didn't work, and it's a cash game. It's a lot different than tournaments, and I just think that I'm better off sitting out for a while and coming back later once people are losing, are stuck for the game. And I had some fun early on, and I had my fun, and now I can go and come back.
Pass.
You just say you're the best player in the world. I did.
John Joenda passes, so does Jennifer.
Come out of my mouth.
This is the ideal time for the professional to be stealing the blinds while everyone's involved in the conversation. Speaking of the consummate professional, here comes Phil Ivey.
Yeah, ace-6 of hearts there. Definitely a hand you can come in with in late position.
Call the 18, 15 to play.
And speaking of hands you can come in late position with, Mike Matusow deciding to take on Phil with the 3-6 of diamonds.
You know, funny, normally you think you're coming in with 3-6 of diamonds, you have live cards. But in this case, he's actually dominated.
Yes, it's true. Open 6s on the board would be a very, very bad thing for Mike.
7, 4, 6.
Well, that's a pretty good flop for Mike.
Yeah, they both have a piece of it here. Matusow with a pair and a gut shot.
Bet of 3,000. And called.
A bet and a call.
7.
3 clubs there as well. This might slow at least Phil down. Might go into check call mode.
Check.
While it's less likely one of your opponents has a 7,
6,000.
obviously you have to be wary that he might have clubs.
There's not actually an awful lot of hands here that Phil can beat.
He can beat 4-5, 6-5, something like that. In this case, obviously 3-6.
Check. Check. On the backs.
Check there from Mike. If he'd have done another big bet there, he might have won this pot. As it happens, the check's cost him, as has the call before the flop with the 6-3 of diamonds.
Exactly, it's your best 5 cards in Hold'em. So while Matusow has 7s and 6s, he has a jack kicker, and Phil Ivey has the ace kicker.
And that's going to be enough to take the money down.
There's not really the best poker player in the world. It's probably a list of maybe 5, 7, 10 players that can be considered the best poker players in the world. But Phil Ivey is definitely top 5, maybe top 3.
I want to play the best players, whoever they are. You know, that's just the way I think, you know. I don't ever sit down on the table and say, I wish I wasn't playing him.
What, you think because you dress like me, you could play like me? Have a nice day.
We play golf and we go out to nice restaurants and have a good laugh.
We go golfing and stuff. We gamble on the golf course a lot.
We play 50 grand a hole. It's not that much. It is that much. It's an obscene amount of money and we are sick. But that's, you know, you get to a level of gambling where you have to be sick. It has to sort of hurt a bit to play.
If we're not gambling in poker, we're usually gambling in something else. So it's just the life we live.
Mike first to act. He mucks it.
Pass. 60.
Well, big hand for Alan Smurfett there.
Looks like he's just called. I can't actually see. Yeah, I think that's just 600.
Pass.
He's got the button now. The other two have passed, so it's just the blinds and Alan.
Gus Hansen being Gus Hansen.
Yeah, of course, Gus is going to play. And Phil Ivey in the big blind with the 7-5.
Check. Check.
Phil on the phone while he's playing in a high-stakes cash game.
Now that's really interesting. Alan Smurfett actually checked the flop.
Maybe he's hoping. Yeah, maybe he's hoping to induce a bluff. He has allowed Gus to catch some of the turn, and it might get him paid for a bit of money here.
Well, Gus Hansen now has 2 pair. Ivey has a straight draw.
And Alan's called. So here comes the river. He's played it pretty slow.
And look at
now he's just made jacks full.
Well, at this point, you're hoping your opponent has an 8.
Yes, exactly.
Although it's just as likely with Gus Hansen and Phil Ivey that they could have nothing.
Well, that is true.
These two are so creative. 2 of the best in the game.
It's gone check, check. I think we're going to see a bet from Alan. The question is how much? $8,500 in the middle. How much do you want to bet in this spot, David?
Well, I have to tell you, in this case, you're only going to get called if somebody has an 8. Alan Smurfett has somewhat of a tight image.
Exactly. So
I might even overbet the pot. By overbetting the pot, sometimes you can make it look like a steal.
Exactly. But he's unlucky. Neither player has the 8. And Alan takes that pot down with jacks full.
Howie, you're playing awfully tight. The aces might come tomorrow.
Well, it's been 40 hands in. Jennifer Harman up to 153,000. She's a big winner right now. Well, probably the guy they all came to play against, Alan Smurfett, the one they thought was going to be splashing it in. He's still increased his chips. He's up to 104,000, and he's not giving anything away, is he, David?
No, he's a really solid player. It's the one thing about poker is if you have the money, you can sit down with the best.
Well, Lady Luck has picked the players that she's going to be shining on this evening. Can anyone else catch her eye? Let's rejoin our commentary team of David Tuckman and Gary Jones.
Alan Smurfett under the gun. He'll be first to act.
Looks like a limp from Alan with the pocket 10s. Hoping to catch a couple of callers and maybe flop a set. Jennifer's in there with a 10 jack. Gus with an ace-4 of hearts.
Gus Hansen, always happy to oblige. He'll enter any pot.
Exactly. Mark Goodwin's in there with deuce-3 as well. Plenty of players.
Well, pretty
and
nice.
This could be an interesting pot.
Yeah, pretty nice flop for Gus Hansen. He has flopped the straight. He has a wheel.
Yeah, but there's deuces and 3s here for Mark.
And don't forget, Alan Smurfett's got the overpair.
2,200.
Well, he's betting it, and I don't blame him. And Howard's got deuces and threes as well, so that's even less cards for both Mark and Howard to hit.
And how do you play it if you're Howard Lederer here? You have bottom 2.
15,500 total.
Mike can't believe what he's seeing.
We've got a real exciting hand here. The pot is now 27,000. Howard Lederer has made it 15,000 to go.
It's going to be interesting. Do you think Gus has got any chance of actually passing this?
Well, look at Smurfett. Smurfett's got the overpair still, and he's going to get rid of it. He knows it's no good.
Exactly.
Pass.
Jennifer's passed, and it's round to Gus. Is there any way he might actually lay this hand down?
You know, he's got the second best hand possible. He can only lose to 6-4 here. I don't see how he can possibly let this go at this point.
Looks like he's got a call. Maybe he wants to phone a friend.
Well.
Well, there's Mark Goodwin sitting there with the same hand as Howard Lederer.
You know, when the action gets back to Mark, you've got to put somebody on a set, though, at this point, don't you?
You'd have to think at least a set.
Hello?
I really think he's generally thinking about passing this hand. Howard hasn't played many hands. He's in the big blind.
Yeah.
I'd be shocked if Gus Hansen laid this down. I really would. I think he's going to push, and he does. Look at that.
That's what he's done. He's pushed. He doesn't know whether he wants to watch or not.
Pass.
At this point, I think it's a pretty easy laydown for Mark Goodwin.
He has. He's already laid it down. I think Howard's going to get off the hand as well. I really think he's going to have to muck it.
Pot is $126,000. Unbelievable.
Well, he's laid it down. He found out where he was. He knows his deuces and threes are more than likely no good.
I might have been wrong about you.
Gus Hansen picks up a very nice pot.
The one thing that's so magical about Gus Hansen, he's just as likely to bluff there as to have the nuts.
Very true. Well, having said that, it was up against Howard. I don't know if it's Howard I'd pick as the person to come over the top with here for a third raise, especially when he's been playing so tight recently.
Both players go all in or whatever. Have we run it more than once?
Started with 100,000. He's up 26,800 now. Not bad for a day's work, and the day is early.
Who's in charge?
Day's work, how about 20 minutes work?
Exactly. The big difference between tournaments and cash games is quite often when you make your first big mistake in a tournament, you're out the door. When it happens in a cash game, you're probably still going to be sitting at the table. And it can cost you a lot more if you don't settle your nerves and play your A game.
You want to save me because I would have called him if you let me. I would have called.
Pass.
What?
Pass.
So Gus is in the pot with a 7-4 of spades.
If Gus Hansen starts running hot, he can be really, really dangerous.
Could also be a joy to watch.
How much?
I watched 2,000.
2,000. Yeah.
Well, Alan's decided to call the raise with a 4-5 of clubs. Expecting to be live. Suited connectors. The guy these people came to play against, they thought he was here to splash his money in. He hasn't put a foot wrong so far.
He's in the big blind.
This is the first time we've really seen him mix it up, Dave.
Not a bad spot to mix it up. 4-5 of clubs there.
The only problem with the 4-5 of clubs, if you're calling Gus Hansen's raises, you could easily be dominated with a 5-7 or something, because these are the kind of hands that Gus likes to play as well. But a bet and a call. We've seen the turn. There's an ace on the board. How much does Gus like his hand now? He actually has the best of it.
Yeah, he's still ahead with the 7 kicker.
Check.
Of course, more often than not, the river card's going to make the kickers irrelevant. There it does.
Check.
Okay.
Both players, the same hand here. Both players have 6s and 4s with an ace kicker.
Chop it up. Well, they're all seeing what what Gus is raising with. So while the dealer chops it up, Phil Ivey stretches his legs, heads out towards the bar.
Oh, 7 played on the turn, right?
Any deuce or 3.
I think I'm probably the one who has had the biggest swings in the cash game. There might be another guy or two, but I've had a lot of big wins and a lot of big losses, and it's not too often the wins or losses cross the $1 million line, but it has happened.
There's Chris Jesus Ferguson waiting in the bar, waiting for his seat. He's yet to come. Hasn't managed to get into the game yet.
Pass.
This game is so amazing. We have some of the best players waiting in the wings.
Exactly, still hoping to get a seat at this lineup. Eric Seidel back there as well.
$2,600 total.
There he is, the action going on just round the corner from him.
Pass. Pass. Pass.
Brace up from Phil and a call from Mike. These two have played together a fair bit before. And a little aces there for...
Check.
Now, if you're not going to flop a set with your 5s, this is a pretty good second one.
6,000 total.
So Mike there with the aces. Has a pop at the flop, and I don't blame him. This is a pretty scary flop for aces when you're up against someone like Phil Ivey. He could be anywhere around there, and at the moment he's got an up and down straight.
Check.
Mike still reaching.
I love the bet here on the turn. With a flop like that, you can't afford to give the free card. Phil Ivey has 10 outs here. He's going to need a deuce, a 7, or a 5.
Hold on a second.
There's a call from Phil. This pot getting very big very quickly. Nearly 50,000 in the middle. Here comes the river. It's not good for Phil. The ace is still good.
Really hard to represent anything here after Phil Ivey.
Yeah, the flush has come back door. And Mike's still reaching.
He's going to bet for value here.
15,000 to you.
Now you wonder if maybe Ivey thinks Matusow is betting a busted flush draw here.
It's about the only thing he can beat, and even if the busted flush draw was two big cards, he's likely to have hit the jack or queen so he could check it down.
Yeah.
There really is only a bluff that Phil can beat here. I can't see him making this call, even though he's getting 4-1. Eric and Chris Ferguson watching the action. Trying to decide what they're doing this spot.
Somebody sitting on the phone with Phil Ivey, holding on while Phil Ivey tries to win $100,000. This is a spot where Matusow, I really think he's hoping Ivey makes a move.
I think he's at least hoping for a call. He knows his aces are good right now. There's no way Phil's dwelling up this long with a hand that he can't beat. What a good lay down there from Phil.
Wow. Yep.
He recognised he was beat.
Well, that's the great thing about these players. I mean, what makes them so great, they know they almost have a second sense when to make a move and when to just be patient.
So here are the top 3 players at the end of the first session. As you can see, Jennifer Harman is in a commanding lead with a profit of $52,200. But this is a cash game and anything can happen. We've seen some great action tonight as the world's poker playing elite aim to get one over each other. Join us next time at the Full Tilt Poker $1 Million cash game to see who'll have to reach deep into their pockets for more cash and to see who ends up with all the chips. But for now, from all of us, it's goodbye.